So, it looks like pretty soon, in fact, any day now, the United States is going to bomb Europe, probably Australia, various countries within the EU, right? Because of the massive human rights violations across Europe, Australia, so on and so forth, right? Any day now. Any day now, they're going to bomb those countries, obviously to help those people, right? Did you know that there are still, I don't know how, but there are still people who believe that U.S. military interventions all over the world had to do, were a response to human rights violations. And get this, attacks by foreign entities on American soil. People actually believe this shit, right? Still believe this shit. Anyway, what the fuck is this video about? I don't know. Let's talk about protesting. Now, on the one hand, it's good to see that people see what's going on and they're not okay with that. At the same time, this sort of thing is exactly what they want, right? And it's ultimately, no offense to anybody, because I know a lot of people go into these things with, a good heart, and they think they're doing the right thing, the moral thing. I get that. But ultimately, these protests is exactly what they want. Why? Well, how do you bring in truly cohesive, all-powerful, central global government? How do you bring that in, right? Well, you got to destroy all the local governments, right? So all the local, right? National, if you will, all these individual state government, right? United States, right? The United States is a state of a larger entity, or it's headed in that direction. If it hasn't, their plan hasn't completely been, zipped up, it's getting there. It's getting there. So, right, you have to destroy whatever's left of these still somewhat autonomous governments, right? You have to make the local populations disenchanted, disappointed, angry with their governments. They have to destroy all the local governments, right? Defund the police so they could bring in, global UN or whatever the hell it may be by then, peacekeeping forces, so on and so forth, right? They have to destroy, depose all your local politicians, and they're gonna bring in many cases, Chinese overseers, right? Uh, this is really about creating these vassal states that are administered by a central government, probably in Beijing. Shit, maybe Moscow. I don't know. We'll see. Uh, it's possible that at first the world will be split into 3, 4, 5 jurisdictions that will eventually merge together, right? The one ring to rule them all, basically, eventually, right? But before we get to that point, we gotta, have. And I mean, this is what's been happening, right? USSR, Great Britain, EU, the United States, North American Union, right? All these larger and larger, progressively larger entities comprised of greater and greater political areas with less autonomy locally and just more centralized governments, right? That's the way the world's been moving forever, right? And um, even though there are a lot of, this is how I see it, we don't have to agree, different, there are a lot of different factions at the elite level battling each other. Sure, 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 sure. But ultimately, they all have the same goal. It's just that, someone like Putin thinks that he's going to be the king, right? Uh, Maybe whatever that creep's name is in China, he thinks he's going to be that, and whoever's behind the U.S. president, right? Whichever branch of Freemasonry is pushing that guy at the moment, right? They want to have they want to sit on the throne. So yeah, this is all headed toward global government. You're just gonna see exactly what you've been seeing forever, right? I'm gonna clown British people a little bit. All the British sheep who have forever been, because I've been speaking out against this. Like Great Britain to me was no different than USSR, right? It was never any different. I mean, there are minor differences, right? Uh, you had to use different tactics to sell the people on this nonsense, right? To get them to buy this, right? So, and how did they do that in Great Britain? Well, they did it with obviously progress and spoils, right? Spoils from all these different colonies. So all the British, I don't know what to call them, imperialists, people who have pushed the British supremacy, right? Darwinism, things of that nature, racial British supremacy. Let's keep it real. That's what this was about, right? Uh, the chickens are coming home to roost right now, and you're getting fucked harder. I mean, look at the whole Commonwealth, right? Whether it be Canada or Australia, right? Or GB, you're getting fucked, right? United States is still has a little bit more autonomy and independence, and it's, you know, in and of itself is that kind of conglomerate of states anyway. So not quite that bad everywhere in the states yet, but certain states in the United States, I mean, the repression has been tremendous, right? Definitely Australia and Canada, Great Britain, right? Like, it's not funny, but for years you guys supported this beast, and now you're getting fucked. Like, how the fuck do you think you could support these commies, right? And that wasn't gonna come to bite you in your ass eventually, right? You're useful idiots. No offense. I mean, you could get offended if you want. I don't give a shit. Tell me how I'm wrong. And if you can't show to me how I'm wrong, then what's wrong with not being wrong, right? How can it ever be wrong, right? To speak the truth. How is that wrong? Right? But that's what's happening basically. And to a certain degree, same thing is happening in Australia, United States. That's why these countries are getting hit the worst, right? Because you supported this evil, because you were benefiting from it financially off the backs of people in the second and third world by exploiting them, right? With the dollar hegemony and control of the global petroleum resources, at least to a large degree, right? The petrodollar, so on and so forth. The military expansion of, well, your Bolshevik government. Let's keep it real. You benefited from this sort of thing. You created this huge military power, technocratic beast, right? You fueled all this and supported it. And well, where do you think this beast is going to run its tests first and foremost, right? Where do you think it's going to when it's finally ready to exercise its power? Where do you think it's going to exercise this power, right? Well, where it's located, right? Closest to home, because it's easiest to monitor. It's easiest to administer this power they have within, a smaller geographical area, right? right where it's located. So that's why Australia, Canada, GB are getting hit the worst because they created this beast, and now this beast is running this game on them, and it's going to spread all over the world eventually, obviously. But this is what this is about, right? And all these protests, right? They always start out as organic, but eventually they're gonna use probably some kind of mind control weapons on these people, or put something in the water, or spray something into the air, or inject agents provocateurs into the crowd, right? Little viruses uh, that are just going to basically wreck the party and justify heavy repression, right? So conflict, war, things of that nature, which will then in turn justify, oh, the global government or whoever the fuck it may be before it's fully global, right? These various coalitions. Oh, well, we have to step in because of human rights violations, and you know what I mean? I think it'll happen eventually under that pretext, right? The savior, the commie centralized savior will step in and use that to take over your government, and the beast is just going to get bigger. It's going to swallow up more and more geographical area, more and more minds, more and more power. And when these beasts, and we're kind of seeing that, I guess, these various beasts will finally find themselves on each other's doorstep, right, as they have in the past, then there's going to be some kind of conflict, global conflict, and we'll see what happens, right? For them, the goal is to have one ring to rule them all, one central power to emerge out of all of this, right? That's what they're hoping for. We'll see what happens. I'm very hopeful that the beast will consume itself, basically, and take a lot of useful idiots down with it. But that's just my opinion, man. This sort of protesting, it's just wasted energy. You're just helping. You're basically taking the noose and tightening it over your own damn neck, and you're helping the global government, right? You're this is not the way to do it, guys. This isn't the way to do this. But the fuck do I know, right? What the fuck do I know? Ultimately, this is one of the reasons why we left the city, right? We would have, look, to all of you guys who are in the States and you don't want to leave the States, you don't gotta go to Ecuador or wherever. Just get the fuck out the city. Because ultimately that's what it's about. Big cities all over the world, they're more or less all the same. It's really about getting the fuck out the city. Right? You don't even have to leave your Anglo sphere or jurisdiction. You really don't. Just find some unincorporated lands and learn how to refuse these offers, basically, right? And once it comes to a point where the rule of law is no longer respected, well, that's when you fight. And all these people protesting, like, what are they doing, really? Right? When you listen to some of these interviews with some of these protesters, it's like, oh, I can't go to my restaurant. I can't go to the movie theater. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Like, come on, really? I'm not allowed to eat their bullshit poison food. I can't get my Hollywood propaganda on the big screen anymore. Right? This is, in large part, this is what these people are bitching about, right? Instead of becoming as independent as possible, creating, I mean, there's so much energy there that could be used. All these people there, right? If they just, instead of walking into the city, if they just walked out of the fucking city, and like, say in Spain, right? And settled one of these abandoned villages, rebuilt it, grew their own food, right, armed themselves, and so on and so forth. Started doing that, maybe leading by example. You know, once you get enough people doing that, like the Amish in the United States, right? It's not that difficult, guys, and it's so rewarding. It would be, but these people are fucking junkies. Okay, they need their daily dose of Hollywood. You know, daily dose of MSM, daily dose of bullshit, basically. Daily dose of their favorite, fancy restaurant food, the daily dose of just fucking garbage bullshit, tailpipe exhaust, EMF. Get the fuck out of here, man. These people are useful idiots. It is what it is. I understand maybe the heart is in the right place, but their brain is fucking mush. All right? Get mad. Thanks for watching.